Introducing The Younglings and the Man, a reenactment of The Harvest by Thomas Rivera. Once upon a time, in a forest far away, spring and sunshine were far gone as the first winter frost started to cover the ground and the animals of the forest began to plan for the cold winter ahead. Because the food supplies were gone and the last plants were soon to be plucked, they all began discussing their movement back down to the southern forest where it was sunny and plentiful. While having this discussion, all seemed fine and dandy with the world, until the man strolled past them once more. Day after day, this man would stroll on past the animals, past the trees, and make his way deep into the forest. Curious as to what the man was doing or where he could be going, they asked if they could join him, but every time they asked, he would get angry and would trudge back on his path. Because none of the animals had any idea why he was so angry or where he was going, they all started to come up with ideas. Some said one thing, while others said the next, but eventually they all agreed that he was hiding something. And in the midst of all this confusion came a pack of younglings, determined to find out the truth. And so they did. They promised themselves that they would discover what the man was doing and they would follow him into the forest. So the next day, around his usual time, the younglings hid behind a tree and waited for the man to pass them. And once he did, they snuck out of their hiding place ever so quietly so they could follow him into the forest without being caught. And they followed the man an awfully long time, through fallen leaves, winded roads, tall trees, and even valleys and streams, until they reached their final destination, and they hid behind a bush as the man stopped at a ditch. But this just wasn't any ordinary ditch. Something was off about it. There were holes scattered all throughout the earth, and the younglings watched as the man began to dig in the holes. As the man continued to dig, the younglings from their hiding place began to get excited. What was he digging for? Was he digging for treasure? Was it food? Was it gold? But then he stopped. He wasn't digging up anything. All he did was bend down close to the dirt and stick his hand in one of the holes. As the man sat there, the younglings jumped out from their hiding place, angry. "Is this what we came for?" one said. "We walked all this way for this?" another one said. And they began to storm off, infuriated. But after the man got up and left, one of the younglings returned. The youngling walked over to the ditch to repeat the same process that the man did. He started digging, and digging away until he could fit his arm inside the hole, just as the man had done. And at that moment, he knew what the man was doing. He was sticking his hand in the ground so he could feel the earth breathe. In and out, as she fell into her winter hibernation. He wasn't odd at all. He was on to something. Then on, the youngling promised himself that he would keep this secret and continue to do this just as the man did, so he could feel the earth breathe in and out until the cold earth was nothing but ice and she had fallen sound asleep.